Hello, hello. Wednesday, 9 p.m. here in Ireland and London, and we are here. So glad to have you all here with us today. And today, as you can see, we do have a special guest. Not Jesus Christ, not himself. It's Rafael Caldas. You know, yeah. Well, we wish we have. So good to have you here, Rafael.
Thank you.
Rafael, he is a worker of the SSL. He does the show here on Kardec Radio, Time to Talk, along with Guilherme Diaz every other Tuesday. So, Rafael, thank you for your opportunity. And today we're gonna talk about mediumship and morality. So it's a lot of a lot of things to discuss, and as usual, uh, after the presentations, the introductions, we will share his thoughts. Okay, usual, I'm not here by myself. As you can see, we do have wonderful friends here. Two young ladies from London and one young gentleman from France. So, Miss Gibbons, how are you?
Hello, good evening. I am well now. It was a bit confusing today. It's always nice to be here, and a pleasure, an honor. And I pray that we have a good meeting today. Ask God's blessing for all of us and to everyone that's sharing these moments with us. So welcome, and let's have a beautiful talk today, and it'll be good for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear.
Hello, my friends. Once again, we are here. This wonderful afternoon, starting evening. Great. Now the temperature is 20 degrees Celsius in London, Poplar, where the area where I live. Very good now because it was so hot today, but we prepare ourselves to be with you all in this wonderful evening, wonderful topic with our dear Rafael, Charlie, Silvia, Stevan, and you all. Welcome, dear friends, brothers and sisters from my heart. Enjoy our time together. Wonderful. Rafael, it's wonderful to be with you.
Great. Bonsoir, Charles.
Bonsoir Steven, bonjour, bonsoir à tous. Très heureux d'être à nouveau parmi vous ce soir pour parler de médiumnité aujourd'hui, un sujet qui en général est assez passionnant et important. Voilà, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone. Very happy to be here with you again and to listen to our dear friend Rafael Caldas talking about mediumship, which is a subject which is quite interesting and on a very important topic. What is the mediumship for? What is the influence of the morality? So really eager to listen to our friend, to our brother Rafael. Very welcome, Rafael.
Merci.
Welcome.
Right. Stevan, you're on mute. I'm not sure if you were saying something.
Oh, sorry. I was just 1 second. 1 second. Yeah. I'm trying to roll the video here, but because as usual, Rafael, we show a kind of 1 minute video.
Yeah.
And then we open for the considerations. If you allow me, I will play a video. Is direct from there, from YouTube. So we want to say something, please. You are home.
No, I will wait for you to play the video as you set it up.
Yeah.
Thank you. But
okay.
The video on. Yeah.
Okay. Let me roll the video here.
psychics, or the mediums, as we call on Spiritism, are they all trustable people? Can I trust them? What they tell, does it really come from spirits? And if so, does it come from good spirits, spirits well-intended? First, not all spirits are well-intended. Not all spirits are wise people. They are just like you and I, without a body. So a stupid person without a body is a stupid spirit. So everything that comes from spirits should always pass through your reason, pass through your mind. See what they're telling you. Does it make sense? Is it for your own good? Or is it something really kind of weird? Is it something that's not going to be good for you or for the other people around you? Wise spirits, they never advise a bad thing. They never advise a thing that doesn't make sense. For example, if a spirit comes to you and say, every Monday you should use purple. Why is that? Doesn't make any sense. But if a spirit comes and tell you, you should be a good person, you should try to reconnect with your brother, you should try to become more calm, you should try to see a more broad way, you should see brothers and sisters in all kinds of religion, you should see brothers and sisters in all kinds of ethnical groups. Well, that's good advice. That probably comes from a wise spirit. Do not trust all the psychics. Do not trust all the mediums. And a good tip there is, if the person charges you, do not go. Run away from that. In Spiritism, we believe that something you receive for free, you should give for free. So if you're a psychic, if you're a medium, in Spiritism, you don't charge for helping the other person with your abilities. So all to say that perhaps in Spiritism, there is free lunch.
Okay, so thank you, and good evening, Hipólito. Good evening, Camille. Buenas noches, Nancy, Beatriz Gilles. So a lot of wonderful people here with us today. So thank you, thank you. Rafael, let me put your deck here. Yes.
Yep.
So okay, we are ready to go.
Well, I have to start saying thank you so much for this opportunity. I think it's lovely to be amongst friends. Thank you to allow me this opportunity. And I must say, when you reached out to say, would you like to come and talk to us about mediumship and morality? I was like, ooh, I definitely need to study more about mediumship and morality. So I'm gonna jump straight in. So I'm not trying to come here as a lecturer that knows everything. It's more of a reflection that comes from investigating, reading the books, and so on. And it would be lovely to see the comments and messages from people as we go through. And I think the video you showed first is brilliant because it already touches a lot of points that I thought would make sense for us to discuss today. And without further ado, let's kick off. So before we dive into the morality of mediumship, I want to just bring back an initial reflection, which is around mediums, right? The video showed us, explained to us a bit about mediums and what kind of I guess questions you have to be around them in terms of the type of work they do, how to approach them, and so on. But why is that? It's because it's very common that we would associate that somebody who has the ability, that power to be an intermediate between the spirits and us, they would be more enlightened, they would be more evolved. After all, they have this incredible ability to do that. But when we go and read the books, when you read the gospel, read the medium's book, and so on, you will find that in many parts that mediumship is not related to moral progress. I brought two little passages here, one from the gospel, what it says, in chapter 24, item 12. Let us first state that mediumship is connected to an organic disposition with which any person may be endowed, just as that of seeing, hearing, and speaking. And then from the medium's book, We have seen completely disbelieving persons become startled at writing without wanting to, while sincere believers cannot produce a single thing, which shows that the faculty is somehow related to organic predispositions. So I think we need to have that very clear when we're talking about mediumship, and when we talk about mediums specifically. It isn't something related to progress. It is a physical characteristic that anyone can have. Now, why do people have that ability or that skill, right? In some cases, they might have that skill, that ability, because they have a specific work that they need to develop in that life. So there is an element of a mission, let's call it, that they need to be involved with, they need to help with, and so on. There might be other cases where being a medium, being certain about life after death, the interactions between people who are living, people who are not anymore, is the only way they have, or the only chance they have to succeed at the trials they're going to see in their ways. And that is why we cannot associate morality with the ability of being a medium. When we are talking about, now if you bring morality into the equation, right? Okay, but what is then the relationship between morality and mediumship? Well, I'll tell you something. They are so interconnected in terms of how mediums should go about their mediumship that there is a whole chapter in the medium's book dedicated to that. So I brought here the image of the medium's book, just so we take a quick look. The chapter 20, the medium's moral influence. And if you go in that chapter and you read the first question that comes in the chapter, Kardec asked, does the development of mediumship have any relation to the medium's moral development? The spirits give a very clear and simple, nope. Nope. The faculty perceives organic and therefore independent of morality. However, the same does not apply concerning its use, which can be good or bad according to the medium's character. So now we start to see what the morality relationship between mediumship and the medium's morale. How you use your mediumship unfolds a lot of consequences to you as a medium. And we're going to get into the details about a few examples that we have, but just like anything else in our lives, all of our relationships, all of the priorities that we have in life, the things that we dedicate time for, people that we dedicate time with, we are all connected through affinity. We have a group of friends that we like to spend time together because we play a sport together, or because we all like to go to the same place together, or we have this hobby that we share, or whatever it is. We spend time with our family together because they are family, because we love them, because it's pleasant, because we need to help one another, and so on. There's always the affinity side linked to the groups that you are connected with. When you're talking about the relationship with spirits, that's the same thing. And that is why you need to start thinking about the way I'm using my mediumship, the reasons behind me using my mediumship, the environments in which I'm using them, the type of interest I have behind that. That will be an indication of the connections that you are making in the spiritual world with the spirits that are supporting or not you in that front. So if you go into that chapter 22 and you go to the second question in that chapter, Kardec asks, it has always been said that mediumship is a gift from God, a grace, a divine favor. Then, Why isn't it a privilege of moral individuals only? And why are there unworthy persons who are endowed with it to the highest degree, but who use it badly? What did the spirits answer? It's a bit long, but I'm going to read. All our faculties are favors for which we should thank God, for there are some persons who do not possess them. You could just as well ask why God has given good eyesight to criminals, dexterity to thieves, or eloquence to those who only use it for evil. The same applies to mediumship. Unworthy individuals have been endowed with it because they need it more than others in order to better themselves. Do you think that God refuses the means of salvation to the guilty? Instead, he multiplies such means at every step by placing them right in their hands. It is their responsibility to take advantage of them. However, didn't the traitor Judas perform wonders and cure diseases as a disciple? God provided him with this gift so that he might afterwards see more clearly the odiousness of his betrayal. Point here is, mediumship not a synonym of high morality. In some cases, as I said before, is the only chance the spirit has to succeed in the trials they're going to face. It is, for those cases, the utmost proof of God's divine mercy. Here I want to make a parallel between being spiritist. When we become spiritists, and what I mean by that is when we start studying about spiritism, understand the divine laws, understand our spiritual life, eternal, understand reincarnation, mediumship, the influence of spirits in our lives, etc. Do we automatically jump to a position of higher morals? We don't, right? So what is the connection then between mediumship and morality? The use, the motivations behind how you do it. As I said, how you use it will dictate the companions that will support you in your activities. Mediumship is a very delicate skill. In order to develop to its full potential, it needs precautions, it needs care, it takes methods, patience, high aspirations, noble sentiments. But above all of that, it needs the solicitude, the support, the help of good spirits that will involve the medium in their love, in their energy. Impatient and impressionable that we are, at this stage at least, it's very common that we want to see results prematurely. We want to see the answers. We want to ask questions. We want secrets and mysteries be revealed to us. And because of that, we end up associating with spirits that might be less enlightened. It is common. It is very common that as you start developing and understanding your mediumship, even identifying your mediumship, that you end up associated with less enlightened spirits, because it is easier for them to find similarities with the medium, with you, in terms of interest, in terms of habits, in terms of how you think, in terms of connections from the past. Because in the same way that a medium, through their sensitiveness, feels what the spirit is feeling, the spirits can also feel and go through what the mediums are feeling. So the energy that the medium maintains and creates around them. So it's very, I guess, logical then that if a medium that generates and creates a specific energy around them that associates with less enlightened spirits will pose a challenge, a higher challenge for higher spirits to connect with them. If the medium is not prepared to receive messages and get involved with work of elevated nature, then the higher spirits will struggle to use that medium. We need to remember, being a medium is being an instrument. The medium is just the in-between. I think the common comparison that we hear many times and see many examples is of musical instruments, right? you might be the most genius of all in terms of your musical abilities. If you have a poor instrument, out of tune, missing chords, whatever it is, there's only so much you will be able to produce with that instrument. The same analogy for mediums. To allow good results, the medium as an instrument, again, needs to have a good understanding of the phenomena, needs to gather extensive knowledge about things. The more knowledgeable and the higher the morals of the medium, the better resources it offers to the spirits in the communications. So if you think about a higher spirit trying to bring a communication about specific issues, they are very deep into our current situation as human beings. They are driven by pride and selfishness. To be able to interact with the medium and translate the ideas of those messages into something sublime, the medium needs to also be able to understand what is the content of the message, what they mean by the words, what they are projecting. And that is the work that only the medium himself can do. Otherwise, it doesn't mean that the medium cannot receive a message that's higher elevated and so on, but it will be a lot more difficult, be a lot more effort from the spiritual side. So, the question, the $1 million question is, well, I wouldn't say $1 million, I probably would say the 1 million values or virtues question is, how do I work on my moral development then? And I have to tell you, this is not something that is exclusive for mediums. That question and that reflection is applicable to all of us, is applicable to anyone. And here I go straight to the source. Let me just change my slide. The Gospel. The Gospel has a chapter entitled Be Perfect. As simple as that, be perfect. If you see, again, I just brought an image here. If you see about the content of this chapter, here you have, in simple terms, what you should use, how you should live your life, how you should guide your thoughts, your actions, your relationships to reach that status of being perfect. Now, usually, when I am studying spiritism in general, a topic or anything, I'm looking at the gospel and I'm watching a lecture, I try to bring whatever I'm listening as close as possible to my day-to-day. Why is that? This is a good example. If you look at the sentence, be perfect, it just feels so distant. It just feels such a huge task to be achieved. It's just so far away. Don't know about you, but for me, it's very far. That it almost kind of flattens me down instead of like gives me the energy to change. What we need to do is we need to go read, study, reflect, but then we need to bring that to actionable items. Every time I have the chance to talk about this, I always bring the same thing. In our lives, you always have things you want to achieve. You want to get good grades, or you might want to go to uni, or you want to get that specific job, or you want to be promoted, you want to have a family, you want to get involved with specific type of work, you want to work with charity, whatever. For you to get to those places, you need actions, you need a project, you need a plan. Sometimes you might not even organize it in a plan, but there is a plan. There will be steps for you to get there. Your moral progress, it has to be looked at the same way. No one knows you better than yourself. Absolutely no one. You know what makes you tick. You know what makes you upset. You know what makes you, your blood boil. You know, only you know. Sometimes you explode, and maybe other people know as well. But
Rafael?
I think he's freezing, or it's me.
It's frozen here as well.
Yeah.
Yes, he seemed to have frozen. Maybe had problem with his internet.
Yes. Yes.
Very interesting indeed.
All the
Yeah,
books of
so
Has child frozen as well?
no.
Oh. No, because you start choking, then you stopped.
Yeah, he
Não sei para
disconnected.
Rafael.
Yeah.
Right.
Meanwhile, can we start to answer the questions here? We do have a question here from Nancy.
I have two.
Yeah, and the first one from Nancy. She say, "Can be those organic disposition developed?"
It's a good question indeed.
No, you can't develop.
Rafael is back.
He's back.
I don't know where it stopped, but it also takes good internet connection.
You were telling you are the one who knows better yourself.
Exactly. So you need to put the effort in. So think let me try to reorganize my thoughts here. What I wanted to say is that mediumship in spiritism, it doesn't create a new morality. It's out there already, but it makes it easier to understand and practice the morality of Christ, because it just highlights and it makes it very clear what it means. But why is it so difficult to follow? Because it takes work, it takes effort, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes courage. But that transformation depends on us. Let me see if I can get my slides back on. I think I might be able to. There you go. Just bear with me. There you go. So going back to morality and mediums, if you are a medium and you want to get yourself in the right path, what are the things that you need to look at? How do you develop your morality so you can allow yourself to be prepared for the higher spirits to work with you, to get closer to you, to protect you, to direct your work? You need to study. You need to understand the phenomena. You need to understand what kind of work you're going to be involved with. You need to dedicate time to your own self-assessment to understand what you are doing that is harming you, that is harming your mental health, that is harming your physical health, that is harming others around you. What are the things that get you out of control? What are the things that are so difficult for you to resist that you know in the end are not doing you any good? Those are the questions that you need to take your time, reflect. You probably already know, but then you need to put a plan in place on how you're going to break those cycles, how you're going to allow yourself to be prepared for the work that you are about to embark, that you want to commit, how you're going to make sure that your discipline on that work is as solid as a rock. Those are the things that you need to be very intentional about. You need to have a plan for that. It's not going to happen from one day to another. You're not going to try to do once and then the next week everything's going to be perfect, and then from that week onwards no more issues. It's not how it works. It's not how we work. But here I bring the key message of the true Christians, and I don't mean Christians in terms of Catholics or any other religion. I mean in followers of Christ. The true followers of Christ are recognized by their moral transformation and the efforts they make to overcome their evil inclinations. So, this is what you need to be committed to, is the effort to change. There will be banana peels on the way. You might slip here and there. There might be a little pothole there, which is fine, as long as you get up again, change the plan. It didn't work this time. Let's go in this other way. I need to get this right. To finalize everything, I want to bring here, I don't think the slide is showing everything. I'm going to read quickly. Is a chapter from the gospel. The last chapter of the gospel is a chapter that I used to overlook, which is the chapter dedicated for the collection of prayers. I used to overlook the chapter because it was an oversight on my part, because every single prayer that is there is a lesson. Every single prayer brings so many items that are backing you up on a specific way of thinking, on a specific way of seeing life or seeing situations or seeing people. And there is, of course, a prayer for us, because we're all mediums, for the mediums. And I want to read that prayer to conclude this part. And that's what I have on the screen right now. The prayer goes like this. Almighty God, permit good spirits to assist me in the communication that I am asking for. Keep me from the presumption of thinking that I am safe from evil spirits, from the pride that may deceive me regarding the worth of what I obtain, and all sentiment contrary to charity with respect to other mediums. If I am induced to error, inspire someone with the thought to warn me, and inspire me with the humility to accept and acknowledge criticism, and to take for myself, not for others, the counsels that good spirits wish to dictate to me. If I have been tempted to abuse in any way whatsoever the faculty that it pleased you to have granted me, or to flatter myself for it, I ask that you take it away rather than allow it to be diverted from its providential purpose, which is the good of all and my own moral advancement. That is what I had prepared. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you very much. We do have some questions here. First question from Nancy. Can be those organic disposition developed?
Should I allow the others to speak a little bit, since I spoke a lot?
No, please go on.
Right. This is always an interesting question to develop upon, because in principle, we are all mediums. What do I mean by that? We are all susceptible to the influence of spirits. It might be through thought, it might be through ideas, it might be through whatever. However, the ability of being an ostensive medium is something that comes as part of your package in the current incarnation. It is linked to your perispirit, it is linked to your physical body, and it is part of the plan. So, can you develop your mediumship as a general person? You can develop the ability to understand a bit more what are your thoughts and what are not, what are the feelings that maybe you have from yourself and from not, and that comes with practice. But the ability to be an ostensive medium, as far as I understand, is not something that you can develop. It's something that you come with or not. If anybody disagrees, please jump in.
I fully agree with your answer, Rafael, and in particular because we don't know yet what is this organic predisposition. We talk about pineal gland or whatever, but it's not proven yet. So it would be like, okay, your pineal gland has this or that shape. Can I do something to change the shape of it? Or can I do something to be taller or smaller or whatever? It's not so easy. An organic predisposition cannot be changed so easily. So depending on what it is, I fully agree with your answer. So it is programmed before we come, and then once it's programmed, well, nevertheless, you are fully right in telling that the voice of conscience, intuition, inspiration, everyone has. And for this, I think we almost all have the organic predisposition for having these light forms, non-ostensive forms of mediumship.
Good.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
There are a lot of questions. Go on, Steven.
Yeah. So yeah. No.
Very
Okay.
good.
Are you guys okay? You wanted to make some questions because.
But I
No,
think
take
there's
the
one
question
question
from the
Camille
public.
there that's nice to answer.
Yeah.
There was another question before that.
Yeah, there is one question here from Camille. How can one identify oneself as a medium?
Good question, and also a very tricky one to answer, right? The obvious cases. Well, let me take a step back. There is no one medium like the other. No mediumship is absolutely the same between one medium and another. They might work similarly, have similar types of work, or be involved in similar initiatives, but how they feel, how the mechanism truly affects them, the way they see, the way they hear, and so on, it's never absolutely the same for one medium and another. So there isn't a formula or a simple objective answer to say like this. You do this test, and if it's positive, you're a medium. It's not how it works. I think there's a lot of elements around. I think the most clear cases, of course, it is if you see a spirit, or if you hear a spirit, you will be able to identify that easily. But if you have other types of mediumships, they are more linked to sensitiveness, ability to perceive and understand, and connect with them a bit more. As you face specific situations in your life, you start to notice that you're not feeling well in specific situations, or there's some irritability around you that you're not quite sure where it comes from, or if you are in crowded spaces, you might not feel well. Again, the other examples here, that there could be other reasons behind you feeling those things, and that it is important that you understand if there is no other physical element that might be causing that specific symptom. But as you try to find the reasons behind that uncomfortable you're feeling, or even sometimes it gets to a physical, it affects your physical health, your mental health, and so on, and you don't find reasons behind, it is good indication from a physical perspective, good indication to look for a spiritist center where they can help you identify if there's a mediumistic root cause. But I'm happy for other people to jump in and give other examples. Please.
But what are you saying is so correct, so nice that it's happened. But there are, of course, people that when they don't know what mediumship is really, or never touch the medium's book, things appears in their lives as there are days that my eyes it looks like that I'm seeing circles and rainbows colored. I could say, if I'm not spiritist, knowing nothing about mediumship, I could say, oh, there is a spirit here trying to communicate with me or whatever. But it's not like that. It's a physical things, Of course, something that I have in my eyes, I should see a doctor, etc., but nothing to do with mediumship in this case. But there are intuitions as well. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and a thing come to my mind as almost a voice saying, you should do that, you should call someone, you should call someone. And I call the person, and the person is ill, the person is in need, etc. This is a intuition, an inspiration that come from the benefactors, although I could not be an ostensive medium. That is great the way. But for sure, all of us, we should seek help in doctors first, in medicine first, and after that in spiritist center. Because spiritist center don't tell you if it's a mediumship, if you are schizophrenic or have a lot of problems, neuronal problems. It's not at this point. But after you seeking everything, medicine, doctors, etc., it's okay. So, well done, Rafael.
I think you mentioned something that was quite good, Elsa, which is try to be aware about if together with that specific feeling, are there thoughts that come to your mind that you recognize are not quite yours? It might be thoughts that seem like an idea that doesn't go away, or thoughts that you don't really recognize as being something that comes from you. Those are things that kind of help you identify that also something that's not originated in you when it's something external.
Yes, and I would also advise, if you are in doubt, just study the mediumship. For instance, reading the medium's book, and then you will see and compare what you are feeling with what is described there, and then you will see if it is the same principle or not. Albeit Raphael is right, every mediumship is different. And if you are in doubt, just go and seek a spiritist group. And Kardec was telling, the only way to know is to try. And but don't try like this without protection. So study first and then try later, and if possible with some people with more experience. By the way, Camille has the same question. Elsa, maybe you can answer. Is there a center in the UK? Of course.
May I make a point before you answer this question about the center? Because there is a point that I like to make, if I may.
Sure, Silvia.
Of course, Imani.
In relation to what Rafael was saying, I think Dr. Marlene, in her book, in answer to that question, in her book, The Gift of Mediumship, she says, if you allow me, I'll read this because it makes more sense. How do I know if I have a mediumship or something? Then she said, everyone, she says, how do I know if I have a mediumship? Yeah. I said, if you have heart murmurs, shivers, wants to cry for no reason, irritation, some of those points I think Rafael actually already said, but if you feel difficulty to sleep, excuse me, panic attacks, lack of sleep, or if you sleep too much, and if you feel generally unaware, some of the other points already made, and you go to the doctor and physically you haven't any problem, then you need to see that it's mediumship that you have. And also I think checking with the doctors and everything before, and then you go to a spiritist center and you look for help because that's what you need help. I remember once Divaldo saying that he had the psychiatrist, and every now and then the psychiatrist would send him people, and he would call Divaldo and say, Divaldo, I think this is one of yours. And then Divaldo every now and then said that, hello, and this is one of yours. So I think sometimes it can be quite confusing, but you need to find out and see exactly how, if it's mediumship or not. Very important. Also, I think the point, continue from what Rafael said, is the fact that mediumship, although we are all mediums. Some people have extensive mediumship and others not so much. Some never will have it. But mediumship as well doesn't, some people will have it from very, very early on, from babies, from the moment they are born, like Ivone Pereira. And other people will not have mediumship for quite a long time, sometimes in their 40s and 50s, and then they will develop mediumship. I know of people who worked in spiritist centers, worked in mediumship always as the facilitator, as the one who did the prayers, who did everything, but he didn't have a mediumship. And I think when he was about 52, he started having the feelings of mediumship, and he developed mediumship after, and he had been a spiritist from childhood. That was very interesting, actually. He was the father of a friend of mine. And he was 52 years old when he actually developed mediumship. So I think we need to, it happens. Mediumship is something, it's a mission of work, and it develops at certain time, and such a gift for us to have. So I think this is very important. And I think, like Charles said, reading the Spirit's book, is studying, even if you're not a medium, is something for your life, and is very good for all of us. Just the point I want to make.
Yeah. Great. I saw that the question from Camille about if there are spiritist centers in the UK. You see that we posted some links where you can find all of the spiritist centers associated to BUS in the UK. SSL is one of them that they want to have on my name here, which is the Spiritist Society of London. So you can reach out to us as well if you have any specific questions or you are experiencing anything that you would want to check. We'll be happy to help. What else, Stevan? Do you have any other ones? Let me just check.
There's another question from Camille. Is one obliged to train and develop?
I'll put it here.
Oh.
Is one obliged to train and develop if gifted with it? I know we have a choice at all time, but what is the spiritism truth of it?
Okay, let me.
Okay, first one.
let me measure my words. Is one obliged to train and develop if gifted with it? No one is obliged to do anything. Like, as you said it, I know we all have a choice. We will always have our free will to make our own decisions. However, it won't go away. It's not something that you ignore. By ignoring it, it disappears, right? There's only a few very specific cases where mediumship is put on pause, let's say, for a very specific reason, of course, according to plans from the higher spirits that intervene in a specific case. But as a rule, mediumship won't go away. So if you want to understand it, develop it, if you want to, as I was talking before, gather a group of spirits around you that have the right intentions on how to use your mediumship to help others, to do good, and so on. There isn't any other way but study and using it, working it, right? And what do we mean by work? I think that's actually a good point, because it might be very abstract if you just say, oh, use your mediumship to put it to work in charitable work and so on. When you talk about the spiritist groups, the majority of the spiritist centers, they will have specific mediumistic work where mediums can donate their gift or commit their gift to specific work. So it might be receiving written messages that you then distribute to specific people in giving assistance. It might be giving assistance, direct assistance to people that are in need of help. It might be receiving messages from spirits that are suffering so that they can receive the knowledge and the clarification and the treatments that they might need to get over whatever they're going through in that moment. it might be through the lay on hands or healing that most centers will have as well. So there's a lot of activities where mediums can put that mediumship to work that will help get into in a balanced way, will find the motivation behind it being to help others, will gather the likeness of good spirits that want to protect you and help you and I guess assimilate your energy with theirs. So that is what it means from that's how the spiritist centers treat it. They put it to work, that's what it means. Anyone else?
I could comment but as well, but there are more questions here, as I prefer to answer the questions.
Yeah. Well, for Guilherme, your friend, your
I
fellow
was
friend.
expecting that.
Okay, can I treat my mediumship with medicines?
Okay, that one I'm gonna say you treat your physical disease with a physical medicine. I'm not saying the mediumship is a disease, right? But you treat your unbalanced mediumship with mediumistic medicine. And what is mediumistic medicine? Work and study. So you have to separate, right? You can, if you have something going on with your body and there is a reason, a physical reason behind that, then you go to a doctor, you look for the treatment, you understand what's going on, you understand behind the symptom, what is the root cause of that problem? Is that a disease, an illness? Is that what it is? And then you treat that. If there's something from the mediumistic perspective, it's the same thing. You cannot treat the symptom, you need to treat the cause. If the cause comes from mediumship, then the treatment is mediumship and not medicine.
I think it's good to point out that mediumship is not actually a disease, but in some places where they do not have the knowledge of what mediumship is, sometimes, and there is a lot of people in hospitals being treated by schizophrenia, all sorts of mental disorders, who actually, they are mediums rather than physically ill. I think in relation to this question, if I may read something from Emmanuel in his book, Mediumship in Symphony, he says, mediumship is a mental force, a creative talent of the soul, the ability to communicate and the interpretation of the spirit, the essence of one's being. So I think this is quite clear that's not physical, and you do not treat it with tablets and medicine of any physical kind, I think.
If I may add something as an experience in my family, one of my daughters has a very, very strong rhinite. I don't know if rhinite is the same. So all the time, coriza, no? Running nose, all the time running nose. And when we went to Dr. Decio, and he made all the consultations, etc., etc. And as well, my daughter was an ostensive medium. And he said, you have to work in mediumship, be a good healer, that will stop these symptoms that is not from the physical, but comes to the physical body. And she always asked me, Mom, talk with your spirits and make this go out of me. I don't want to be a medium. But I said, it's impossible because you prepare yourself, you agree with your agenda before incarnated, blah, blah, blah. But any of the day, she decided, after 30 years old, she decided to study a little bit more about mediumship, to prepare herself, and to be a good medium. And stop this running nose, stop everything, and now she can deal even with a illness with the physical body, not to do with mediumship, but in a different way. She always, she can have illness in her body, but not in her soul, because she's a good person. Always have a nice word for someone, nice help for other one. So she's using her time to dedicate to serve others, serving herself as well, but as a mediumship, only now working to help others, not in the mediumship meeting per se, because she has an illness, cancer. That's it.
Good example.
Yeah, great. So glad we answer all the questions from our friends here. And unfortunately, it's our time, so we just have time for our announcements. So let me put it here.
Rafael, well done. I'm very happy, really. Yes, good.
I
Thanks.
think I am exercising my mediumship of inspiration. I cannot take the credit.
Yeah, thank you, Rafael. So next week, the origin of nature of spirits, and we will have Dr. Nadja with us from Lithuania. Saturday, 25th, our friend Guilherme Dias will give a presentation to the European Spiritist Gathering, PEP, Project Ectoplasm, Perispirit, and Epigenetics. It's very interesting, so if I'm you guys, I will join straight away and wait 7 o'clock Saturday to listen what Guilherme needs to tell us. And this is our usual shows: coffee break every Wednesday, Medium's book course every Saturday 10:30, time to talk and study of the book Nosso Lar every other Tuesday. So, and also we require your help. If you can go to the link www.kardec.org.uk/high5 and help two institutions in Brazil, Instituto Mutirão and Grupo Espírita Sheila. Okay? Thank you very much. Okay, let me hear. So, Rafael, my friends, I want to say thank you very much. I want to say my internet is bouncing, sorry. So, thank you, my friends. Charles, merci. Silvia, Elsa, thank you. Rafael, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're welcome anytime. And friends, thank you so much for being here with us. I'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye bye.